Hey everyone, Homostar Fan 14 here, and welcome back to the next video in the video game collection series. And this time it's going to be Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance. So I think I can get them all done in one video because, well, I don't have as many Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, so these ones won't go too quickly. This will go quickly. So we'll start off with the original Game Boy stuff because I only have two original Game Boy games. So we'll start off with the one Nintendo game I have, which is actually quite an interesting one. I don't think many people know that this one exists. Wario Blast featuring Bomberman. Yes, this is a Bomberman game, but with Wario in it and Bomberman. Yeah, probably the most weirdest like Nintendo Mario game they've ever made. Because like I think this was in Japan. This is just a Bomberman game, but over in like America and Europe, they put Wario in it, which is just very strange. You know, you don't expect that. And that's not something you usually see in Nintendo do with that. So. Yeah, it's very unique. I mean, like you say, it's a typical Bomberman game, but, you know, play as Wario, that's quite fun. So I should warn you right now, I don't have any of the boxes for these games. They're all going to be like this, so I had to like zoom in the camera a bit more, but that's fine, you can still see the cartridges and all that. And here we go, the last Game Boy game I have, because I told you this would be short, WWF Superstars. This is like one of the very first wrestling games they ever made. So yeah, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Hogan. I think the other two characters I think are Mr. Perfect and I want to say I think it's either DBRC or Big Boss Man. I can't remember. Yeah, it's actually not terrible. I mean, like for a Game Boy wrestling game, I think it works. I think it's pretty fine, but yeah, not much else to say. Just the very old wrestling games. Yeah. So that's it for Game Boy. Told you that was going to be quick. So next up, we're on to Game Boy Color, and they're all licensed games because I don't have any traditional Game Boy Color games. Because you have to remember, just like the PlayStation, I was very young when I had my Game Boy Color, so I didn't buy any of the actual proper Game Boy Color games. So we'll start with the other wrestling game, another wrestling game. This one for Game Boy Color, WrestleMania 2000. Yeah, again, it's going to be nowhere near as good as the N64 game, but it's still okay, I guess. I feel like for Game Boy Color. It's alright. I think you can do worse, but you can do better. I actually kind of think I prefer Superstars, to be honest, but yeah, I just want to collect all the wrestling games, so that unfortunately means I have to get all the Game Boy Color stuff, but yeah, fine. So next up we have the British section. So first off we've got can we see? Yeah, Tweenies, Doodle's Bones. So anyone remember the Tweenies? Yep, didn't think so. So yeah, Tweenies was a British CBB show. I used to love it as a kid. So obviously I had this game, and I actually used to have the PS1 game as well. But yeah, they're very, very, very baby games. So you're not going to get any like enjoyment from these. But I decided to keep it because it's funny to have. It's just funny to keep games like this and also memories. I remember playing this on car trips all the time. Next up, we've got another old game I had, David Beckham's Soccer. Yeah, just a typical football game on Game Boy Color. You'll notice I've not got a lot to say about these games because, well, it's Game Boy Color. There weren't really a lot, these kind of games, there weren't a lot to sort of say about them. And I haven't played a lot of these games for years, but it's okay, I guess. For a football game on Game Boy Color, it's pretty decent, I guess. Yeah, I think there's a console version of this, but I never bought it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Last up for this section, Robot Wars Metal Mayhem. So I've mentioned Robot Wars before in the PS2 video. This is a horrific game. Like, this is terrible. It's so bad. Like, I mean, in all fairness, like, the fact that I don't think you could really do a Robot Wars style game on Game Boy Color, so I don't know why they did it, but even with a limited, like, ability, it's still awful. So it's also weird that the worst part about this game is the cast of characters they put in this, like the list of robots. Like, so this is based on the third series, and you've got some big names there. You've got Chaos 2, Behemoth, Panic Attack. I think Firestorm's in it, Exterminator. But like, there's no Razor, Hit the Disc. So I don't think Mortis in it. Like, a lot of big names just aren't there. But what you do have are Crasher and Asher, who lasted about 5 seconds and then exploded. And you've got Terminal Ferocity, who was just flipped over once, and you've got loads of other rubbish robots, and it's just, I just don't. It just makes you wonder what the hell they were thinking when they made the cast for this game. I think they just watched like 5 episodes and were like, yeah, we'll use those ones. So yes, yeah, kind of funny though, but yeah, if you're gonna get a Robot Wars game, just don't get this one. It's not good. And then we have the Disney section. First off, this is actually a pretty good one. Toy Story Racer. I actually quite like this game. I think this does a good job of putting a racing game on on Game Boy. They do like some weird like photo-ish stuff, like a sort of a 4-motion video style. But I think it works quite well. I mean, again, as mentioned, Game Boy Color. You're not going to get like Mario Kart on a Game Boy Color. But I think for what they did, it's pretty fun. I think it's pretty decent. Of course, no one ever as good as the PS1 version, but of course it isn't going to be. Next up, not a lot to say about this one because I don't think I've played it in literal years. Can see Winnie the Pooh Adventures in the 100 Acre Woods. Again, Winnie the Pooh is just the best. Come on, focus on that face. Focus on that face. Can you see? I think you can see. I'm probably trying to get my hand. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, he's just so cute, and Tigger's there as well. So, not much else to say. It's just a Winnie the Pooh game on Game Boy Color. Obviously, I had it when I was very young, but I remember having fun with it. So, yeah. Next up, we've got the only Nickelodeon Game Boy Color game I have, Rugrats in Paris, but the movie game. Rugrats in Paris, the movie, is actually really good. I think it's the best Rugrats movie they made. And this game, again, I haven't played this game in years. I don't think I ever got that far into it because, you know, I was a child and I never beat games. Again, I think it's probably okay, but yeah, for a Rugrats Game Boy Color game, there's not much else you can really do, but yeah, it's fine, I guess. Much rather play the PS1 game though. Oh yeah, actually no, there was actually the PS1 Rugrats games. There was a PS1 Rugrats in Paris game, but I've never played it, so I don't know if that game's good or not. I've heard not good things about it, but I'm sure it's still better than Game Boy Color version. Next up, 2 more racing games now. We've got Wacky Races. I've sung my praises for the Wacky Races series a lot, and so this is the Game Boy Color version of the PS1 game, I'm pretty sure, or the PC version or whatever. Again, not that bad. Again, for a Game Boy Color game, racing game, I think it's pretty fun. I think there's some good mechanics in it, you know. Again, I think it actually looks very good for Game Boy Color. So yeah, looking for a racing game on Game Boy Color, maybe pick this one up. Not bad. And if you love Wacky Races as much as me, I think I now have every Wacky Races game that was made, or at least everyone I can realistically get, because I know there were some Japanese only games and some arcade games. I think now I have every Wacky Races game that there's ever been made, which is good. Nice to have, of all the collections to complete, it's nice to have that one completed. And the last racing game, and probably not a very good one, Lego Stunt Rally. Yeah, this one's not very good. It's not a racing game like the other ones. It's basically Scalextrics, and yeah, just rubbish. Very, 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 very rubbish. I think Calicos did a video on it, and yeah, it's one of those ones where the game came up in his video, and it's like, oh, I had that game, and then he like craps all over it and go, oh no, it's not that bad, and then you watch more of it and you go, oh no, it actually is bad. It was bad. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but whatever. I was a child, so I probably enjoyed it. And that's basically it for Game Boy Color. Except one. I've got one more Game Boy Color game, and it's very unique. Here you go. Now you may be looking at this like going, oh, what's wrong with this? It's just Pokemon Silver. No, this is but I'm sure other people can notice. This is a bootleg version. So I don't remember how long ago this was. It was definitely when I was a child. I want to say maybe when I was like 8 or something. Me and my family, we took a holiday to Portugal, and we went to one of those like marketplaces, and he had a bunch of games. And I picked this one up because I had just gotten into Pokemon at that point, so I wanted to like play more Pokemon games. And obviously, when I was a child, didn't notice anything wrong with it. Just thought it was a typical Pokemon game. But going back to it years later and noticing how different it looks, I realised, yeah, this is a bootleg copy. And I think I don't know where it came from, like what kind of bootleg it is. I think it's like a English translation, like hack of like the Japanese version, because it has a lot of like mentions that are in Japanese, like the professor uses a Japanese name, and then they just sort of, and like I think the characters are like, they only allow to show like 5 characters for the Pokemon. So like, for example, Cyndaquil is shortened down to 5 letters, and like you can only put 5 letters in for your name or your Pokemon's nickname and that. So yeah, it's very interesting. I actually think I might do a video on it one day, because I've never seen anyone else sort of mention this, and Obviously, there are probably like thousands of Pokemon bootlegs out there, but it's just interesting to have one. Yeah, from what I can gather, I played it a bit like not long ago just to see what it was like, to remember myself about it, and I think it seems fine. I think you could play the whole Pokemon game on this, and you could basically get, a full Pokemon adventure out of it. But still, it's not official, and those are kind of annoying. Hopefully Nintendo and Game Freak don't watch this and break my doors down and take my copy away. I didn't mean it. I was like 8. Alright, so that's all the Game Boy Color games, and next up we're going to go for Game Boy Advance. So let's start off with the Nintendo games that I own, and well, we went through the bootleg Pokemon, so let's go through the actual Pokemon game I own, Pokemon Emerald. Yeah, this is the only Pokemon game on Game Boy Advance I own. I think this is the first Pokemon game I ever bought, or the second one, I'm not 100% sure. So there's actually a funny story about this one. I got this for Christmas one year, and it was because I had asked for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, but then I got this instead, which in a fairness actually is probably it's better that I got this over Mystery Dungeon, but still. So yeah, I got a lot of nostalgia for Emerald. Mudkip is the best Pokemon, that's just a fact, everyone knows that. I don't even know why I need to mention it because everyone knows that, but yeah, I haven't played through this one. I have played through Omega Ruby, so we'll get to that when I do the 3DS stuff, but maybe one day I will go into plays. I've been getting into a Pokemon mood again lately, so maybe I'll go through all the older ones after I've done the newer ones. But yeah, Pokemon Emerald, kind of all know this one. And the last Game Boy Advance game I have, the last Nintendo one, Mario Power Tennis. So I believe this is Mario Tennis Power Tour in America. I love this game. This game is great. I think this is probably the best Mario Tennis game. It's so much fun. And I love the story mode. It's got the RPG style story mode of it. No, not Mario Tennis at all. It's got original characters in that, but still, it's so much fun, and I think it's great. And I guess it's a shame that we don't get Mario Tennis games like this anymore. But yeah, these are all the Nintendo games I own. I did used to own Super Circuit and Mario vs Donkey Kong, but I got rid of them when I got the games on the 3DS Virtual Console, with the Ambassador program, so I didn't really need them anymore. But yeah, that's all the Nintendo games, both good. So next up we've got Sonic Advance 2. So this is the only Sonic Advance game I have. I don't have Advance 1 or 3. I would like them though. But you know what? Advance 2, really good. Advance 2 is great. This is what was basically the real Sonic 4 before we got Sonic Mania and that. I think these are really good games. Really good. It's the same that because we don't really have handheld systems anymore. We don't really get Sonic games like this anymore. But yeah, I think it's good. I've never beaten this game because it can get really hard and annoying at some point. But yeah, if you've never played the Advance games, you should. And best part about Advance 2 is they introduced my favourite character into the series, Queen the Rabbit. And that's not a joke, I really like Queen the Rabbit. She is so fun to play in this game because she's so overpowered. It's so much fun watching her cheese the boss fights. And yes, that was intentional. Next I've got the Crash Bandicoot section. So first off, Crash Bandicoot Xylophone Saxophone, or The Huge Adventure in America. Yeah, I love I really do like the GBA Crash games. I've had this game since I was young, and yeah, it's just really good. Really fun. Really fun game. I beat this game last year, and yeah, it's just Crash Bandicoot but 2D, and they're just good. At a time when Crash Bandicoot was in a bit of a mess on console, the GBA games were all really good. Next up, we got Crash Nitro Kart, so the GBA version of the PS2 game. I just think this is better than the console version. Yeah, again, obviously racing games became a lot better on console. And yeah, I think this is good. I actually say I think this is better than Super Circuit. But yeah, pretty fun. I think you can play as Spyro in this game. I think he's an unlockable character. But yeah, still good. I'm noticing I'm not having a lot to say about these sort of games because there's just not a lot to say about Game Boy Advance games, I guess. But whatever. And this is I've gone through so many of these collection videos that it's hard to find new things to say about these franchises. Oh, here's something I can say. So this is the Crash and Spyro Super Pack. So this is 2 games in one. So it's Crash 2 Entranced and Spyro Season of Ice. I haven't played the Spyro game yet, but I have played Crash 2, and yeah, Crash 2 is good as well. Again, it's just another version of Crash XS. But yeah, I would like to play the Spyro game at some point. I played the Reignited trilogy and they were good, so I'd like to play more of the Spyro games. But yeah, it's just nice to. This was like a very common like thing you would see on Game Boy Advance with the combo packs. You'll actually see another one of them coming up later. But yeah, pretty good. Next up, this is good. Banjo Pilot, yeah, one of the 2 Banjo-Kazooie games that came out on Game Boy Advance. I don't have Grunty's Revenge yet, but I would like it. Yeah, I've not played much of this one, but I just wanted it because, you know, it's Banjo, man. Poor Banjo. Like, I was just thinking about this the other day. You know, we had that Banjo-Kazooie for Smash, and how much of a great moment that was, and everyone was so happy. And Microsoft just never took advantage of that. Like, it just baffles me that Microsoft could see the excitement people had for Banjo and then didn't decide to do a new game or a remaster or a remake or whatever. He'll come back one day. I do need to play Kazooie, the first game though, because that is quite fun. But yeah, that's basically all I need to say about that one. Oh, now here is a great game. I think this was a launch title for the system actually. Konami Crazy Racers. Now, I know we hate Konami, but this is that one Konami were actually good. And yeah, it's a racing game, but yes, I actually think this is better than Super Circuit. So it was a launch title for the system. It's got a bunch of Konami characters in there. I think it's got Dracula from Castlevania. It's got I think it's what's the name of the ninja from Metal Gear Solid? Is it Grey Fox? Yeah, the one who's a sister in Smash. Yeah, I think he's in this. Obviously, you got the baseball guy from the baseball series. But yeah, these games are. This is just a really, really good racing game. I think it's so much fun. Yeah, I'd recommend you pick this game up if you can find it. I think it was on Wii Virtual Console, but you know, unfortunately, that's been shut down, so you can't get it anymore. But yeah, if you can find a copy of this, definitely pick it up. It's a very underappreciated gem on the console. I've had this game since I was like a child, and it is great. And the last, I guess, original game before we go into the licensed stuff, Wolfenstein 3D. Yeah, so I don't know why I have this game. I've had this game since I was a child. I don't really know how I got it. Maybe it just came with a system or something. But yes, this is part of the very well-known, 3D, trying to make 3D games on Game Boy Advance. You know, some of them worked, some of them didn't. I don't know if this is one that worked or not. I'm going to say no. Because, you know, I mean, obviously Wolfenstein 3D is not as ported as Doom. I surprisingly don't have Doom on here, but yeah, I mean, I can never beat this game as a child because I didn't know what I was doing, but I guess it's a fine port, but there's just no reason to play it because, yeah. Now we go to the license section, and first off we've got FIFA 2005. So yeah, I've had this game since I was a child, and yeah, it's fine. You know, for a FIFA on Game Boy Advance, it's as good as it could ever be. Yeah, nothing else to say. It's just FIFA. Yep. Because I mentioned in the previous video I was doing like a FIFA on every console thing, and this was actually one of the consoles I didn't need to get one for because I already had it. So yeah, it's fine. I'll do these next two together. So it's Premier Manager 2003-04 and Premier Manager 2004-05. I can just put those on there. Yeah, so these are Football Manager styled games. I have a lot of nostalgia for this one. This one not as much, but this one, man, I used to play this with my brother and his friends all the time. Like we would use the Game Boy player and just put them on the system and just play them in bed and that, and it was great, so great. I haven't played this game for years though, and they are probably ones where like there's probably no reason to get these games over like the other Football Managers. I guess the only reason to get them is like if you have nostalgia for this time period for football, then that would be the reason. But yeah, still pretty fun though. Next up, I'll do these two together because they're basically the same game as well. So WWF Road to WrestleMania and Road to WrestleMania X8. So yeah, just two typical wrestling games on the system. I think they're fine for GBA wrestling games. They're probably as good as you're gonna get, but yeah, it's all right. That's just pretty much all I can say there. Now we go on to the Nickelodeon section, and first off we've got another one of those combo packs. We've got SpongeBob Super Sponge and Rugrats Go Wild. yeah, so Super Sponge was a port of the PS1 game that I mentioned in my PS1 video, so if you want to see me talk about that one, then watch that video. And then Rugrats Go Wild is based on the that Rugrats Wild Thornberrys movie, which I definitely saw in cinemas, but I barely remember anything about it. So it's, I guess, tells you the quality of that film. Yeah, people don't like that film, but I've only played one level of the game, and it's, I don't know, it's probably not good, but whatever. It's just nice to get these. These combo packs are so good when you're going into collecting because, you know, it's just cheaper because you get 2 games for the price of 1. Obviously, they're 2 games that there's been no point in getting, but I want to get the SpongeBob game, I want to get the Rugrats game, so this was like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But speaking of SpongeBob, now we've got SpongeBob Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. So this was a GBA version of the PS2 game. Honestly, I think this is better than the PS2 game for the simple reason that it doesn't crash. And yeah, I think it's okay. I have a lot of nostalgia for playing this game, and I somewhat enjoyed it. But you know, it's one of the ones where it's probably not a good game, but I still have enjoyment with it. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that one. Next up, SpongeBob movie game. Yeah, based on the movie. Yeah, this one's pretty fun as well. I think this one's like one of the better ones because I think it's made by Way Forward actually, or was it? Yeah, I think it's Way Forward made this game. You know, the guys who would then go on to make Shantae and you know, sort of Shovel Knight because some people worked on Shovel Knight. Yeah, again, fine 2D platformer for the GBA with SpongeBob characters and based on the movie. And I never got that far in this game because unfortunately this was one of the many games that didn't save. Like that one and this and Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, there were no savings. You had to use passwords, which was, you know, annoying because I didn't remember the passwords. But yeah, still fine. Next up, SpongeBob Freeze Frame Frenzy. This is quite a fun one. So this is a Nicktoons game, but of course SpongeBob is in the title because they need to sell more copies. So you play as like a bunch of Nickelodeon characters, like you've got SpongeBob in there, obviously Timmy Turner, Danny Phantom, Tommy Pickles. There's a bunch of characters in it, and you go to like different worlds, and you've got to take pictures of stuff. So it's kind of like a Pokemon Snap style game, but nowhere near as fun. You've got to take pictures of stuff, and you've got to like try and take pictures of characters who like. So like you go to different worlds, like you say you go to the Bikini Bottom, and then you've got to take pictures of, say, a character who's not meant to be there to try and send them back to their own world. Yeah, it's pretty decent, pretty fun, but quite unique, but yeah, you're not going to get much enjoyment out of it. And I think it ended on a cliffhanger that never got solved, so we never got to see the true ending to Freeze Frame Frenzy. Life's so cruel. And last one, SpongeBob SquarePants and Friends Unite. So this is obviously a GBA version of the PS2 game. So fun thing about this game, I actually got this by accident. I bought a game on DS, and this game was just in the like GBA space. I don't know if that was like intentional, if he knew that it was there, but hey, got a free game, and this game's not very good, so at least I didn't pay any money for it. But yeah, just, you know, I haven't played much of it, but from what I have played, it's not very good. Next up, we've got the DreamWorks sections. First off, we've got Madagascar Operation Penguin. So this is a quite fun game. This is like basically Madagascar the film, but from the perspective of the penguins. And as we all know, they were the best part of that film. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So you play as Private, and you just got to go through levels and like you see like all the characters and that. And it's actually not bad. It's actually got a decent little GBA platformer. There was actually a time when I considered it to be my favourite game on the system. I don't anymore, but still, I actually think it's quite fun. I've played this game multiple times. Especially when I was younger, because you know it was one of the few games I could actually beat. But yeah, pretty good. I actually think the Madagascar game's actually not that bad. I didn't mind I actually quite liked the console version as well. Yeah, pretty good. If you want if you like the Penguin Madagascar like characters and that, I'd recommend this game. Pick it up. It's pretty fun. I unfortunately can't say the same thing about this one. Shrek Swamp. Okay, Shrek Swamp Kart Speedway. Yeah. This is a very bad racing game. Just not really like awkward designs, awkward like gameplay and that. Very annoying music and noises. Yeah, this is probably one of the weaker Shrek games. So yeah, I know you need to collect all the Shrek games, but maybe don't get this one. Maybe you don't need to get this one. Next up, this is a Looney Tunes game. I actually really like this game. Actually, this one's Tweety and the Magic Gems. Can you focus? Yeah, Tweety and the Magic Gems. This is basically like a board game. It's kind of like a Mario Party. Like, I'd argue this is a better Mario Party than the Mario Party we actually got on GBA. Like you go on a board and you play as like Looney Tunes characters, and you've got to try and collect gems to save Tweety, who is being turned to stone. And there are a couple of mini games in it. Unfortunately, there's only like 9 mini games in it, so you play the same mini game like all the time. But I think it's pretty fun. I think for Game Boy Advance, it's actually be a pretty good game to just like play every now and then. Yeah, I'd really, if you like Looney Tunes and you like Mario Party, I'd give it a go. I think it's pretty fun. Yeah, that's what I'll say about that one. Next up, got the 2 Robot Wars games. I'm gonna do them one by one. I think first off we've got Robot Wars Advanced Destruction. Not great, this one. I mean, you'll notice all the Robot Wars games aren't very good, but yeah, it's fine, I guess. Like, unfortunately, like the gameplay's very boring, very monotonous, because like the graphics look quite cool, because it kind of got like a they kind of like sort of the robots actually sort of look like how they're supposed to look, you know, unlike the Game Boy Color game. But it's just very dull, very boring, and not a lot in it. But again, with Robot Wars, so of course I have to get it because I have to get all the Robot Wars games. I actually do have all the Robot Wars games now, which is quite fun. But yeah, that one's not very good. This one, however, I think is probably the best Robot Wars game. Extreme Destruction on Game Boy Advance. So of course I've mentioned the Xbox version, which is not very good. I actually think this one's pretty fun. Like, it's actually a 3D game. This is like, I consider this to be the 3D GBA game that everyone forgets. Because everyone never talks about this when they talk about 3D GBA games. And I actually think it's pretty good. You know, I mean, the graphics, obviously, for 3D, are like obviously not great, but for 3D GBA games, I think they're pretty good. And yeah, the gameplay is pretty fun. 3D, like, Robot Wars fighting game. Yeah, I think of all the ones, this is the one that is the closest to getting it right. You know, no stupid, like, hitboxes and stupid losing weapons and all that, and actually fun gameplay. Yeah, if you're going to get any Robot Wars game, I'd recommend this one. I think this one's the best one. Next up, I guess this is the live action section, because we've got the last one, which is Fear Factor Unleashed. This is awful. This is a terrible game, but I actually kind of like it because I like Fear Factor. So yeah, Fear Factor was a show me and my brother used to watch all the time when we were kids. It's like, you know, it was hosted by Joe Rogan, who, you know, I'm sure there's nothing controversial about him at the moment, but yeah, it's not a good game. There's like, I think the best part about this game is that they get to do things that could never be done on the show. So like they take the insanity and like up it by like 1,000. So like you have like, you know, stunts that would actually kill people in real life, but because again they can get away with it. I think this was actually meant to be a port of a like console game, but the console game never came out. But we got the GBA game instead, but we didn't get the console version, which is a shame. I would have loved a console Fear Factor game. But yeah, that's pretty much it about that one. And last up, we've got the Cartoon Network section, which I've saved for last for a specific reason. Even if you know your Game Boy Advances, you might know why I've left it to the end. But first off, we've got Ed and Eddie Jawbreakers. Oh, this is an awful game, a terrible game. So I bought this a few years ago when I was trying to get all the Cartoon Network games, and basically, have you ever played that game Lost Vikings, where you've got like the 3 characters and you've got to constantly switch because each character can only do one thing, and that's what this game is, and it does it poorly. The first problem with the game is it doesn't really tell you what each character can do. You kind of just got to figure it out. But the game doesn't tell you anything. There's no controls. There's nothing. So you have to go in. Like, there probably were controls in the instruction book, but I don't have the instruction book. So yeah, out of luck there. And also, each level has a time limit. So if you don't do it in a specific time, you lose and you've got to level over again. Yeah, this is a terrible, awful game. Just don't buy it. Don't play this game. I haven't played the other handheld games like the Misadventures GBA game or the DS one, but I'm sure they're better than this one. Yeah, terrible. I'm going to use these two together because there's a certain story about this one between these two. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and Cartoon Network Speedway. As you can see, the plastics coming off. So you may notice something about these games that they don't look right, and that's because I'm pretty sure these are bootlegs as well. So I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like neither of these games, I don't think either of these games come out in the UK. I think they were American games. However, I somehow have them on console and they are able to play them. I don't know if the GBA was region locked. Was the GBA region locked? It might not be. That might be the reason why I got away with it. But as you can see, these like, they're not like proper like what would you call it, like art, I guess. Like, and as you can tell, this one's just coming off because it was obviously glued on there or whatever. So I guess my story with these is that I don't know how I got these. Like, I got that one for Christmas for my birthday one year, and this year this one I just got from my mum once, where she just went to she came home from shopping or whatever and came home with this game. So what I think must have happened is that she must have bought these in places that weren't official, and because of that, I've now got 2 games that technically never came out over here. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Not very good games though. Forces Home for My Friends is just a very typical, boring platform game. Not very fun. And Car Network Speedway is just another like bland racing game. Speedway is actually not bad because you've got identity characters in it, which is good because they almost never appear in the Car Network crossovers. You know, you've got Courage is in there, Karen Chicken, Johnny Bravo. So they've got some cool characters in it. Oh, it's even got Sheep in the Big City. Remember Sheep in the Big City? What's that? You don't? Yeah, but just a fun story that I have games that never came out over here. But the last 2, and again, if you know your GBAs, you might know what these are. GBA videos. So we've got these 2 Cartoon Network ones. These are unfortunately the only 2 I have. So, who remembers what these were? So if you don't know what these were, these are basically episodes of Cartoon Network episodes on a Game Boy Advance. Yes, like they made a bunch of these. There's like a bunch of Cartoon Network ones, a couple of Nickelodeon ones. I think there's a couple of Pokemon ones, Sonic X, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball GT. There was even you can watch the whole of Shrek on one of these things, which is just hilarious. So yeah, I had one of these. I think it was that one, the Platinum Edition. I had that when I was younger. So I think the episodes that were on there were Operation Tommy from Codex Next Door. The episode of Mandy's Birthday for Green's Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Courage is on there, but I don't remember what episode it was because I never watched that one. I don't really know why I never watched it. And they've also got the Ed and Eddie episode where they have to try and hide Eddie's porn. That's not a joke, that's literally what the episode is. But yeah, like, obviously there's no reason to have these now, but I kind of want to collect them because just the idea of them are fun, you know? I'll be doing my PSP games late on another video, and I have a similar thing I want to collect on there. But just the idea of them excite me. Just the idea of them are fun, you know. So when I saw that one, this one, the other one in the retro shop, and when I saw it, I picked it up immediately because, yeah. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's all the Game Boy Advance stuff. Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy Color. Next time will be DS. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do DS and 3DS in one video. I might just have to do it in one. But I'll see whilst I'm filming the video if I can do them in one video. But so if whatever happens, next video will be DS. So I'll see you then. Bye.